Love, don't act like this today. All right, and we here. What up, what up, what up, y'all? I am your host, Young Smooth, and once again, you are tuned into another episode of Kicking It with Young Smooth. Y'all know I bring y'all the flyers, and sometimes it's on Friday, sometimes it's on Saturday. Right now, it's on Saturday, and next to me, I never get that right, but next to me is my man, Mr. Travis Case, Mr. Guillotine himself, one of the illest voice actors and reviewers that you will ever meet. Mr. Case, say what's up to the people.
How y'all doing, folks? What's up, Young Smooth, man? I'm happy to be here. It's been a good while.
Yo, like I was looking back on the podcast because every now and again I'll go through to see what I've done and who's been the guest and how can I reach back out to them, especially after the pandemic. And I was like, I haven't talked to Travis in forever. What am I doing here? Then all of a sudden, I see you on Instagram and the title is voice actor. And I watch these commercials and I'm like, yo, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
I
So
appreciate
to
that.
get, you're welcome. So to get started, like I ask everybody, how has this pandemic affected you and how has it changed you?
Great question. It's affected me in a way that it's forced me to be more introspective, whereas I would be running around and doing X, Y, and Z beforehand. But now I've kind of had to confront things about me that are dysfunctional, and things about the way my creative process that is dysfunctional. And so I kind of had to sit with those things and reconcile with them and figure out how to make my machine flow smoother, if you will. But I mean, it's been great for me as far as like voice acting because so many things have shut down and so many in-person things have shut down. A lot of opportunities or auditions that may not be out in the open for voice actors, generally speaking, are now
Mm-hmm.
out in the open on the internet. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
been great.
Yeah,
That's been great.
absolutely. And if you could take away anything from 2020, what have you learned thus far in this pandemic?
Um, not to deny not to deny any aspects of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Especially creatively, like my former voice coach Stan Fisher used to say, only concentrate on what's working, not on what's not working. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you know, if I'm getting hits on TikTok, you know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, oh man, it's not showing up on Twitter or not showing up on Instagram or not showing up on Facebook, concentrate on the TikTok and it will make everything flow outwardly from there. You know what I mean? Versus
For
spending
sure.
so much
For
energy
sure.
on what's not working. You know what I mean? So that's where
Oh
I'm
yeah,
at.
for sure. And I think like one of the biggest things that we do as people is that we find the fault. We always find the fault, and we're like, "Oh, this is horrible. This is the bad part. Was wrong." But we never flourish in what's good. So I'm glad that you said that. Like, definitely flourish in the good stuff. Now
Yeah.
we've known you for your reviews, definitely. But what made you go into the shift of voice acting?
I mean, as a kid, after when I turned 13 or 14, my mom's friends used to always say I had like a nice, like a radio voice, and
Mm-hmm.
that has kind of been pushed through me doing presentations at school, me speaking publicly, me being an MC, a spoken word artist, and then doing the reviews. And so there would be times where I would do reviews and I would be acting like a character or narrating plot points, and people would be like, "Yo, I would pay you to read to me. I would pay you to read." I mean, at least I wish I had $1 for every time somebody said that because I have a nice little stimmy before the stimmy. Um,
Right,
and
exactly.
so so that's where it went. And also my friends was like, "Yo, you should do audiobooks, you should do X, Y, and Z." And so that's when
Yeah.
I reached out to who would then be my first voiceover coach, Stan. And I gave
Hmm.
it a try. I was like, man, let me see if this can be something. And then ever since, I've been digging it. I enjoy the creative process as a voice actor. So.
Yeah, I've been PS, and by the way, we just talked about this off camera, but remember I told you that I had just read the Life After Death book. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
if for any reason, Sister Soldier want to call you and have her pre-read all of the other books. Now they 400-500 pages, but if you want to read any of the other books, I am here for that. Okay, you let me know what the next audio book is that you are reading. I am here for it. I don't give a damn.
I appreciate
this is my new journey. Yo. You know what I really liked though, what I used to like, well, not used to, but what I love is your ending on every review video. That's when I kind of thought to myself that I was like, voice acting would be a thing for you.
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah,
like
man,
you're ending about keeping up the Hunger Games.
Yeah. You know what? That's how it be though, especially as an artist. Especially when you're in that period where I'm still in it, where you are trying to make your art into a business that you can live off of. You know what I mean? It just feels like the Hunger Games. It feels, right. That's what it feels like, that whole starving artist thing.
Oh, for sure. I'm well aware. I'm still hungry now. So are there any inspirations in the voice acting field?
Yeah, most definitely the OGs. James Earl Jones, Keith David.
We love Phil Keith Lamar, David, yes.
Yeah. Phil Lamar, who does Samurai Jack and stuff like that. I'm trying to think. It's some other folks. Janelle Monáe. Janelle Monáe is go ahead.
Yeah, Janelle Monáe, Cree Summers.
Yep, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yes.
Yeah, Cree Summers is so just Cree Summers and both Keith David. They've done so many characters since like the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s that you just kind of take them for granted. Like the water cutting on, like you just take them for granted. But I love Janelle Monáe's voice as well. Like I think if she's not already doing it, if I was her manager, I would be like, Janelle Monáe, you need to read for these sleep apps because Janelle Monáe's voice is so relaxing. She has like a Sade-like voice, kind of essence. She could talk anybody to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
In a great way, in an entertaining way.
And who else? There, Estelle when she was on Steven Universe.
Yep.
And there was someone else that I was thinking about that was really good too. Because you said Keith David. Shoot, I can't even think of his name right now. But there are definitely a ton. Oh no, you know what? Actually, the other person I was thinking about was Deborah Wilson from Mad TV.
Good. Yep.
She gets slept on a lot, and she is in a ton of video games. But I will say my OG has got to be Cree Summers. Like, if you go through her IBDM, you are like, yo, all of the things past a different world have been amazing. Like, yo, she has accolades after accolades, and it's so distinctive that I literally can sit back and be like, oh, that's great. Like I will watch something and watch a cartoon that you might not even know, and you'll be like, oh, that's great. If not, it needs to be because that's her voice, so it does well. Are there any inflections that you're kind of working on? Like you want to do something a little bit different, or let me rephrase this question. Are there any type of character roles that you're looking to do in voice acting?
I would say, so I'm not sure about how big you are into anime, but like Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop. So I love the main characters on those, like on Cowboy Bebop, Spike, and on Samurai Champloo, like Mugen, like those suave guys who have the propensity, if they're pissed off, they can go crazy, but they kind of stay on that mellow. Well, Mugen is kind of angry, but like Spike, like those kind of Samurai Jacks, you know what I mean? Like Spawn, I would play an anti-hero. I would do Venom, if they ever wanted to reach out for a younger Venom, I would do that.
So I could see I could see that being like maybe if not like a younger Venom, but maybe a like a younger Spawn, definitely, or like something like a prequel portion into it. Yeah, like if Keith ever wanted to pass the torch, because Keith out here making bank.
Yeah.
He's like he's still he's still in the Mortal Kombat. Like when they added him, they dropped it and they said it was Keith David. I went crazy. I went crazy. Speaking of which, I don't know if you went crazy when Disney Plus dropped and I found out that Gargoyles was on there. I was
Oh
like, yo, yeah. I was like, yo, Gargoyles, it was everything. And I remember I used to come home and watch that along with, I think it was like what, Tailspin and Gummy Bears all at the same time when they all dropped. No, Rescue Rangers, I'm sorry, when they all dropped at the same time. But yes, again, I'm a whole geek. So
no.
I also see, yeah, I also see that you have a Twitch channel. So you're also gaming as well.
Yeah, so I got a new setup, and so I was just like, let me just try to get into this Twitch thing. And I'm still trying to figure out how I fit into the Twitch world, because when I game, I'm not as extroverted as I am when you see me on my reviews. You know, when I game, right, I'm kind of quiet, especially if I'm playing like Call of Duty or Madden. Like I kind of need my focus, so I be needing people to kind of talk to me, so I can have a conversation. Because after that, I'd be like, yeah, hey, what's up? When people come into the lobby, I'd be like, hey, what's up? And after that, I'm like, I'm focused on trying to win.
Which I think that is that's a thing. Like there are gaming channels that get really intense, and there are some gaming channels where you kind of fall in love with the people because they have so many other creative actions that they're doing while they're doing it. But yes, if you get laser focused, you're like, okay, what are we doing here? But what I would like to say to you that I am on PS4, and anytime you want to murder, death, kill, homicide on some Call of Duty, you call the Playboy. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm good. I'm just saying.
What are you playing? Like Modern Warfare or Warzone? What are you playing?
All of the above.
Okay, bet. Yeah. So you know it's cross gen. So yeah, you can definitely link up with me, man. I mean, I'm on there.
Okay, we gonna make that. We gonna make that happen. Now, what I think I want to say, what 2018, 2019, you also started your podcast with your cohort, the On Topic Off Topic podcast. How was that going?
It's going well. I mean, we need to put some more consistency into the podcast, but like so far, like when we are up and running, it's been going well. You know, I always appreciate having people on and inviting them into our world. You know what I mean? Because like it's really, that podcast is really about me and Theo's friendship. You know what I mean? And like all the things that we have, you know, encountered as friends. I've known him for too damn long. So it's it's we need to put some more consistency in it, but I definitely dig it though. It's been a great experience.
Yeah. I watched it. I definitely watched a couple of episodes. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." It's weird because like I've met you. I got to know you, so I'm like, "Yeah, that's Travis all day." Like that's I think that's like I'm always like that's the core of who you are. So I'm like, "Yo, it's so cool. It's so cool." So when are we getting another? You're welcome. When are we getting another book or movie review? Because we got movies and stuff out there, and I looked on your history, and I was like, "Hey, Trav." Like,
yeah, well, the most recent one I did was Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes,
and I want to do. See, this is the thing, and I'm trying to figure out how to reach people quicker, and I'm really digging TikTok right now. And I think if I have, for example, if I go to see a movie and it's like it pushes me to talk about it for like 5 to 10 minutes, I'll throw it on YouTube. But if I just have like some quick thoughts about it, I think I'm gonna just throw it on TikTok. So like with Coming to America 2, I'll probably just throw it on TikTok versus YouTube, where people usually expect me to talk for like 5 minutes. You know?
Have you ever rewatched anything and it's maybe changed your opinion versus the first opinion that you gave?
Ah, great question. I think Justice League. I think when I watched Justice League, I gave it a 7 on my first review. I think I would if I after I rewatched it, I would probably change my review to a 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I can think about off the top of my head.
Now, why would you change your review?
You know what? At the time, and I'm not going to lie, I felt a little pressure from both avenues because it was so cool to trash that movie because a lot of people thought it was terrible, you know. And I felt that initially, but at the same time, I was trying to pull things from it that I felt that were good because my thing is, I love Ben Affleck's Batman. You know, I really think that he's a really, really good Batman, and he encapsulates everything that's going on with Batman, you know, and his mental stuff. So I was trying to find the good in it. But I think the thing that would probably take it down from a 7 to a 5 was a lot of the plot holes. I just rewatched it and I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? I don't get this. It's a lot going on. The CGI looks crazy. So yeah, that would probably be the main two things that would take it down for me.
Or I'm gonna tell you what else looked real crazy. This was it the top of this year? Yeah, it was the top of this year. Wonder Woman 1984. Why is that a thing? Why is that even a movie? Because it was bad. It was bad, and I had to watch it twice just to try to get an idea of why some of the things were happening. The CGI was great. Like a lot of those were great, but I was like, it's not good. It's horrible. Have you seen it?
You know what? I watched the first 30 minutes of it and cut it off. I was like, I'm not.
And that goes to my point. Goes to my point. So bad.
Yeah. I was like, well, I was like, I'm not enthralled by this at all. I'm not entertained.
But the debate that always goes on, like the difference between DC and Marvel. Why do you think the DC is now at this point of not being able to really connect with the audience, where Marvel, we are like deep into it?
I think DC is like the tale of two stories, if you will. Like DC's animated stuff is fire. Like their Batman and Robin stuff. You know, like all of that, like the stuff about Batman's son, the stuff about the Justice League, all of that is crazy. I think there's probably a lot of red tape and contractual stuff. I think if DC could somehow drag and drop their animated writers to their live action stuff, then Marvel may have a problem. They may have a real genuine problem. But I think with DC, it could be I don't know what's going on in the writers' room. I think it could be too many egos involved. I think there may be not enough nerds who want to stick to the source material. Because this is my thing about comic book movies, in my fair opinion. If you think about it, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, they were once books. And what they're doing is they're compressing these big ass books into 2-hour, 3-hour films. And that's why they're great, because the books started off great. The books are already great. So if DC, for me, were to pick a storyline and stick with the source material, then it would be fire. Like Batman and Superman, was already written in the graphic novel, The Dark Knight Returns. It was already the shot list was there. You had the shot list. You know what I'm saying? You had the dialogue already. All you had to do was literally drag and drop those pages into a movie, and you good. But I don't know why they don't do that.
And I think a lot of times the appeal from Marvel to DC is this. DC is always gods among men. And I think that with Marvel itself, because it was so deeply based and had so many metaphors that were so deeply based in a reality, I think people will always kind of gravitate towards that. And then sometimes to see it played out, because be honest, even the Supermans that were prior to any of the Justice League or the new stuff today, all of them weren't hits. You had Richard Pryor in one of them. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
You had a comic relief in there. So, you know, you don't do it. So DC has always had an issue. Batman has always been very hit or miss for me. Honestly, only the first two, which were Batman and Batman Returns, because of Tim Burton's majesty of the way that world looked, the way Gotham felt, and just everything around it. Not to mention the fact the quintessential Catwoman will always be Michelle Pfeiffer, because you are talking about somebody who was in a BDM outfit, who could not hear direction because it was actually over top of her, and did it. And the whip trick that she did in the store with the mannequins, did it on the first time, quintessentially. Anne Hathaway could never. Anne Hathaway could never. It's one of my favorites. Speaking of powerful women, you actually just recently did a video on your take on Kill Bill and The Bride. What inspired you to do that video? Which, again, also, so side note, one of my favorite freaking directors and movies. Just saying.
No doubt. Well, in college we learned about my major was English/journalism. I'm minored in journalism. And so one of the courses that I took, we went over some Victorian literature. And I was thinking, I was like, damn. Also, so when I was watching Captain Marvel, and me and my homeboy were talking about it, and I was like, yo, why, when they're advertising Captain Marvel, are they keep trying to compare her to her male cohorts, like her male contemporaries? It's almost as if they're saying, like, she can fight like a man, she can fly like a male superhero, she can jump like a male superhero. I'm like, no, just if she's this all-powerful being that Samuel L. Jackson is calling to help save the world, she's just all her own. You don't need to compare her to anybody. And that made me think about some Victorian literature and what was going on at the time. And I was like, yo, Quentin Tarantino really set the blueprint for how women action heroes should be written, promoted, and seen. Because Beatrice Kiddo, she don't need no reason to kill you. Just the fact that you were in her way to a goal, she's gonna kill you. Period.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Like that's Kill Bill in and of itself.
Yeah, I think that movie was phenomenal, and I'd like to be able to separate art from the artist sometimes, because I think there's a blurred line that we're starting to get into at this point. But so for me, like, Quentin movies don't harm me. I'm not like up in Black Rally because it's like, oh, he used the N-word, or I get it. I kind of understand his magnitude of everything that he does. Like, it's so great. But one of the things that I loved about that perspective that you had on it was the fact that it was like, oh, she's out here being a complete anti-villain, you know what I'm saying? Completely just her own authentic self. And that character didn't have to be juxtaposed. Good SAT word. It didn't have to be juxtaposed to a male counterpart. And I'm like, yo, I didn't think about it that way, which is hilarious because I added that into a playlist that I have. So you did your take on it, and there's a actual YouTube channel, shout out to Take, that does it as well. And they also kind of talked about like the anti-female, you know, superhero or whatever. And I was like, I like that. I love that. So to see both perspectives, and especially because they're girls and you as a guy, to see both perspectives are really great. So I appreciate you for doing that one. Absolutely. And
go ahead, my fault. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. And lastly, you also did one on Black Panther, but go ahead. What's your thought? I'm sorry. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah. And I guess the other main thing that made me think about it was in those early novels or whatever, like I said, a lot of the times it was the survival of the female protagonist was whether or not they got married. So if they got married, they lived. You know what I mean? They lived happily ever after. And if they stayed single for any reason, they died in some way, shape, or form. And I was thinking about it like, Quentin Tarantino literally starts with a wedding and a death at the beginning of Kill Bill, to kind of really turn that universe upside down. Like, okay, this is how we really going to do it. You know what I mean? And I feel like, and again, I can't speak for women. I can't speak for women anime or comic book lovers, but I feel as a fan, as a movie lover, I think that Quentin Tarantino's blueprint should be followed more.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And speaking of which, I do like that even though it took us a while to get there, I believe that Bridgerton is going to kind of follow in that step a little bit. You know what I'm saying to you? Even though they showed the monarchy of women having to get married and self-worth, but they also show how does this play out when it's not working anymore. You know what I'm saying to you? So I want that character to do so much more than what she is. But it's a great show on Netflix, and shout out to my man DDM because he kept posting about it, and now I'm like, this is so damn good, and I binged it in like a week, so it's really bad. It is really bad. So if you had a favorite movie, I'm gonna tell you what mine is, and it's ridiculous. But if your favorite movie, an all-time favorite movie, and you can only pick one, what is your favorite movie?
Definitely Malcolm X. Off top, I gotta see Malcolm X.
I figured it. So here's the thing. I ain't that deep. So mine is going to be Beetlejuice.
Okay.
So, yeah. There's actually a reason behind that. So I was about 10ish, yeah, around that time. And my grandmother had passed. And when my grandmother passed, I didn't recognizing it now, I didn't realize that I was in a depression. But I felt like Lydia Deetz. You know what I'm saying to you? I felt like I was estranged and macabre. I felt that way. So that movie, as goofy and as animated and as live as it was, it resonated with me because I felt like the strange and unusual at that time. Because I was like, you know, dealing with your emotions, you're a kid, you don't know what death is and why, you know, you've only had 10 years with somebody and you're supposed to be living your whole life. So it actually it made me feel better. It was the funniest thing. I was like, maybe I'm not the only one. So yes, Beetlejuice is one of my all-time favorites. I'm not as politically deep in the Malcolm X, but Malcolm X is an amazing movie that Denzel definitely got snubbed for until Training Day. Yeah. Yeah. Are you by any chance rewatching Training Day?
You know what? In my in the early 2000s, I want to say when Training Day came out, and it's so funny because I remember buying Training Day from Blockbuster in like the little clearance box with VHS. Jesus Christ! So I watched it 1,000 times all through the early 2000s. So I mean, I may watch it again now that you have brought it up. But I think I look at that movie differently now that I'm adult for that specific reason that you just brought up of how he was snubbed, Spike was snubbed, and everybody was snubbed for that film. And Denzel alludes to it in his award speech that he gets the award for that. Not that he didn't kill it, because he absolutely did. He Denzel'd it. I mean, Denzel's going Denzel. But it's just like he did so much before, and he gets the award for that.
So. Yeah, absolutely. And then he was like on the heels of Sidney Poitier, where it's like, yo, like I've been chasing you my whole life, and now I finally get it, but I get it for this and not the rest of the accomplishments. Side note, his son out here killing it.
Oh,
okay.
Oh yeah.
I haven't watched. I think it was Malcolm and Marie. I think that's what it was, but I haven't watched that yet. But once I saw it on my Netflix, and I heard it is good, and Zendaya is killing it as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, she can act her butt off too.
So since we are talking about streaming networks, I'm going to only imagine that you have gotten into the phenomenon that is said WandaVision.
I have. I finished it not too long ago. I have.
It's very hit or miss. Like sometimes you'll get people that'll be like, "Oh yeah, I saw it," or "What is it?" And I'm like, "Not what is it? Not what is it?" But okay. So, thoughts? How did you like it first and foremost?
Okay, so I have to say I am not. My knowledge does not go in super deep with Scarlet Witch, but I enjoyed the show and I enjoyed the metaphor of it all as well. Like I absolutely love the metaphor of the show. And I mean, again, and I love how they were going through all those phases of television as well. Like simply aesthetically,
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing. And
Oh yeah, for sure.
and well, I'm getting her first name wrong. Is it Brianna Paris? Tiana Paris?
Tiana. Yeah, Tiana.
Yeah, she's super bad, and I'm hoping that she gets a lot more movies in that role.
Well,
and Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, she is slated to be in Captain Marvel 2, so she is slated to be in that. That is great. That's gonna be good. Also, here's one of the things that I think people did not look at, and it was one of my favorite parts. And I watched review after review because it did not focus. This one insignificant thing did not focus on the way that the plot was, but there was a scene, and in one of the scenes, this is right after the Malcolm in the Middle situation. Wasn't yeah, right after the Malcolm in the Middle situation, and they kind of went into the Modern Family after she did the whole thing with the hex. So the detective or whatever, the second main villain, because it was Agatha all along, went into it and, right, and went into it, and he was talking to somebody else. Oh, it was Director Haywood, that's what it was. And he was talking to someone else, and they were like, can we still see into the hex? And she was like, no, we don't have a signal. Here's where that is ingenious. Malcolm in the Middle was in 1999-ish, early 2000-ish. You feel what I'm saying to you? Where we still had an analog signal. When we get to now look at looking at Modern Family is now in the digital age. So that was the real reason that they could no longer see it that way, because now they were out of an analog box type phase and they were into the new universe of digital recording and a digital way of doing things.
Oh, really quick, and I didn't notice that. Number one, that's a great observation. Did somebody put that out there yet?
Nobody has put that out there. That's why I'm so mad. Nobody.
What are you waiting on? You should put that out there.
I might. It's just a little observation. I might TikTok it. Yeah. But that was one of my favorite parts. I literally remember because like 1, 2, and 3 had to like kind of speedboat me into this because I was like, I don't know. But then once we got into it and it started getting good and people started talking about it and people started reviewing it, I was like, yo, this is great. And then I started looking at the details and then one thing that Marvel does, and I think the DC also doesn't do because they just don't have so much of a foundation, it gives you the Easter eggs. Like, okay, I see that. Oh, why is that like that? Oh, that means this. You know what I'm saying? So you get to these different points with it. And that was definitely one of my main ones that I looked at. Was there anything that kind of sparked you in WandaVision and said, okay, like they got their foot on the gas?
Well, I mean, I did like the overall theme and metaphor of grief. You know what I mean? And how she was literally how they say that, like, when you're a drug user, you aren't the only one who is affected by the drug you're using. Your family, everybody that's close to you are affected. The fact that she was keeping people in prison within her grief, I thought was an amazing metaphor. You know what I mean? Right. And then how people can manipulate your grief. So I thought that was also when they brought in Agatha, as well. Like, and then I love, and now I'm just thinking about, I'm so glad you asked me that, because now when they did the whole witch thing, that was very hocus pocus, wasn't it? That was hocus pocus. So I thought that was cool as well. I mean, and I was so,
and not only that, sorry, I'm sorry, my bad, not to cut you off, but and not only that, it was also Bewitched, because that house was the same with Agatha's house was the same house that was front faced as Bewitched as well. So it's It's a lot of that. They use references to like Charmed, Bewitched. They did a lot of references. They definitely did. But yeah, I think what I like, and I'm ready for even because I think it's next Friday, should be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think people are in love with the Easter egg situation. You know what I'm saying? To
Mm-hmm.
whether you're seeing something or something means something else. So I think that they're definitely in love with the Easter situation. Speaking of Easter eggs and going through Marvel, you did your review on moving on in Black Panther. Excellent review, by
Yes.
the way.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. What are your thoughts on how the mantle can be passed on, or like what Marvel should do, or what they could do?
I mean, to be honest, like I really, really, even though he's older, I just feel like John Manhantu would be one of the best situations for Black Panther. Because, like I said in the video, he's already voiced him. He's already voiced him.
Mm-hmm.
He has the look. He has the accent. He's always in fighting films. I mean, he can get out of the bed and do these fight scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just like again, I know eventually in the comic books, Shuri gets the mantle, but I feel like they could write two universes where maybe in this one she just go ahead and carries on the mantle. But I believe there should be a universe or storyline where we just at least get 2 or 3 more Black Panther movies, mate. We cannot let him die when we've had 88 Batman movies, 88 Superman movies, 99 Green Lanterns. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is amazing. Like I said before, he has so many powers. He has so many powers that we have not been exposed to. Like the fact that he can bring the dead back to life. And then when you think about Africa and our relationship to the ancestors, you think about this guy bringing ancestors back to life to help aid to save Wakanda / the universe. I just feel like there's so much there that we just can't abandon right now. Simply, let me not be insensitive. I don't think we should be able to. We should abandon the character. Much respect to Brother Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. When it's appropriate, we should definitely pick him up and recast him. He should be recast.
And we've also done things like that with like James Bond. We've recasted James Bond. The character has still stayed the same, but other people have played James Bond.
How many Jokers have there been? Heath Ledger died. He was the best Joker in many people's opinion. We've had it. We already got another Joker. You know, so
exactly. Actually, but we had 2. Like just it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I think for the only thing that I want us to continue this story, whether we move forward with another person in the character or not. And I think Black folk, we listen to. Okay, we gotta let stuff go. Okay, we do some shit we gotta let go because I feel like Black folk always want to hold on to the wrong shit. You hold on to shit that is toxic and not healthy for us, but then you want to hold on to a legacy and a memory that just I don't understand. But I really want this to continue on for the simple fact, right? I think that we have got to see Black Panther and Storm on the big screen. It needs to happen. Here are my reservations. Okay. We definitely ain't doing Halle Berry. That ain't happening. I'm sorry. I'm mad. I was mad at Halle I was mad at Halle in X2. Here's why. Ma'am, you do not go from X1 to X2 and then all of a sudden you want to have a goddamn accent. How's that work? Okay, don't do that. Number 1. Number 2, the young lady that played in the what was it? The Apocalypse version where it was the younger Storm. Oh, okay, you done messed up on the accent again, but I'm not holding that against you. But I must, ma'am, let me tell you something. I gotta hold this against you. You messed up the Aaliyah story, okay? So you don't really deserve to do this, okay? And I need I just don't do it. I need them to stick to Storm is a important character and aspect to the Marvel that universe in general. You have got to do it right. You can cut out the fact that she was a nudist, because she was a nudist. Like, let's start there. I know that's going to be a little bit of a stretch, so maybe she can't be a nudist, but you really have to, delve into it. And I would love if we're going into this realm of female superheroes. If you're talking about Captain Marvel, and you're also in turn talking about like Monica Rambeau now, and Wonder Woman in general, Storm needs her own mantle. We've messed this up several times. She needs that. And I think that Black Panther would be the best way to do it. Absolutely. Sorry, I had to rant about that. I feel a certain way about that.
No, I agree with you. And my pick for Storm, now that Teyonah Parris is Monica Rambeau now, I think the young lady from American Gods, I believe she's the African goddess of love in American Gods. That's Storm. In my mind. Yes. She's Storm.
Yeah, absolutely. I need that. I need that. I can't. Please, Hollywood, do not whitewash Storm. Because what people fail to realize, okay, and this is how much of a geek I am.
Okay.
Storm, along with the Phoenix, are Omega level mutants. Okay, please be clear that Aurora Monroe can change the atmosphere in any condition, even in outer space and underwater. Okay, she can literally manipulate the breath in your lungs. She is an Omega level mutant. You don't whitewash an Omega level mutant. What do you look? Not doing this. I'm not doing this with you, Travis. I'm not doing this. They're killing me.
No, man, you talking your talk, man. You dropping that knowledge, man. Look, I'm telling you, man. Come out with that video, brother. Come out with that video.
I'm gonna have to, because I'm the only person that thinks. I feel like I'm always the only person that thinks this way. Like, yo, that's what I think about. I'm such a nerd. Speaking of sequels and new things happening, we got Coming to America too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to say to that, but okay, I'm gonna give you my thought, and then you place in your thought. Okay. I think that Coming to America 2 was a good movie. It was a good movie all around. It had a whole story. I think that it didn't hit on its nostalgia level because of the rating that it was given. I think that it also pushed a lot of boundaries that in 2021 and how we feel, it went a little too far, but it still honed that level of comedy that only Eddie can bring, and that chemistry that only Eddie and Arsenio can bring together. I feel that it's a little ominous with the James Earl Jones part. No spoilers, but I was like, ooh, like what if that really, like, I sat there through the whole thing, like, what if that happens? Like, did he, like, I don't know. So there's that. I think that the movie focused very well on women empowerment, and because it was dressed in the same style as Black Panther, it looked amazing. So it hit on many cylinders that I think a lot of people did not think that it would. Thoughts?
I agree with that. It took me a while, but I had to separate it from the first film in order for me to enjoy it. I think if I could say that a couple of things I didn't necessarily or wanted more of or less of. I wanted more Eddie and Arsenio, and I wanted more of Eddie and Eddie's other characters and Arsenio's other characters in the film. Like, I felt like we should have got more barbershop scenes. Like, I love the barbershop scenes of Coming to America. I will say this. I love the the griot character that they wrote in, that was kind of like the human manifestation of Rafiki from Lion King, like the
Yeah,
old
yeah,
Oracle griot. Like he was hilarious.
yeah. Like when he spit.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for me, and I guess like a lot of other people, I just really felt like this movie should have been done in like 1995, like 1994, like not too long after the first, because again, that was younger Eddie. It was a different time. He was still in that mode, that whole one piece leather suit Eddie mode. He was still there. And so I wish that Eddie had written, you know what I mean, this film, or did this film.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it would have we would have, one, got the R rating, two, it would have like, it still would have felt fresh, and it would have gave you that level of nostalgia and all that. However, one of my trepidations to this was honestly, seriously, was going to be, it's too many comics in the broth.
Too many.
It worked out. No, I thought so. I was wrong. It worked. It worked because they all played their roles. They were very, it was what it was. Tracy Morgan was classically Tracy Morgan. I love that to death. And when I tell you, anyone can call it what they want to, because they're going to do so many tropes. They're going to overanalyze it because they do what they do. But Leslie Jones killed it.
She did.
Give Leslie Jones her props and her flowers, because there was not a moment that she was not on screen that wasn't funny. Every time she stepped into that, and she killed it every single time. I think that this movie, if I had to rate it, I would still give it if 5 stars, I probably would say 4 at best. 4. I was going to go 3.5, but I think I'm gonna go 4. What would you rate it?
I think I would give it a 7 out of 10.
And that's high on your scale.
Because again, like I'm thinking about, if I were to watch this film and it was literally Coming to America 1, there wasn't any classic Coming to America before. If I were to watch it in a vacuum, I think I would have enjoyed it even more. But granted, like I said before, the other thing I didn't like, I think it got kind of too musical at certain points. I was like, I mean, I know the first one had music now, but I kind of felt like it kind of got too Broadway musical on me.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, especially with like the intro of the death situation, and then where else was there? There was like big musical numbers. Oh, when he came back to Zamunda, and him and Lisa were in the parlor, and they played the song that was on his first date. I get that. And then it was a lot. You're right. There was a lot of music. It did very musical very quickly. I think that, I don't know. I think that this is one of those things that I wish that time would have moved in a different way for people, because that's just like trying to get the last Friday. At this point, let it be what it is. There are 3, well, technically 1, but there are 3 classics, that you got in your hands, and that be that. And let's just completely move on. We're missing John Witherspoon, God rest his soul. Tiny Zeus Lester now at this particular point, Bernie Mac even, you know what I'm saying? So it's like there's not really a way to really bring back that level of nostalgia. And niggas still watch Friday. I watched it yesterday.
I mean, on repeat, man. I love that movie.
On repeat. Fun fact. I don't know if we talked about this the last time I talked to you, but for the longest time, I did not know that Joy's character had a man in the bed. Here's why.
Oh yeah.
Every time I watch the shit, I watch it on bootleg. I was like, she has a man in the bed. But it's so good. It's so good. And everything that was it was again, cult classics are shot on some of the cheapest budgets all the time. It never fails. It never fails. Thoughts on the Mortal Kombat trailer? Are you excited? Anything you looking forward to in this movie?
You know what? I'm excited because again, I haven't really been into Mortal Kombat since the early 2000s, mid 90s when we were kids and playing it. But I gotta say, this movie looks like it was done by the nerds. Like it looks like it was done by the kids who loved it and played it in their childhood. You know, like those fight scenes, those fatalities. Look, I felt like I was watching the game. I felt like I was watching the game, and I think like people were saying it was kind of slightly corny to them, but I was like, well, that's kind of the mold that Mortal Kombat is in. Like, if you think there's any quote unquote corny elements or 80s elements or whatever, it's doing, in my opinion, it's doing that on purpose. It's self-aware.
Sure.
You know, I think I'm excited about it. How you feel about it?
I am so excited. It's ridiculous. So, when I think my love for it, I always had love for it when we were kids, but my love for it came back when I played Mortal Kombat X. And when I played 10 and played the XL right now, and I was in it. And I mean, I played that game so much, I played it from whole storyline to every DLC. You feel what I'm saying to you? And now I'm in Mortal Kombat 11, and I played it from every storyline, the secondary storyline that they added, and every DLC. You know what I'm saying? So I am like submersed in the lore of it. So if they give me a little bit of the nostalgia from before, fine. Let's not do all of that though. Don't do a whole bunch of nostalgia from before, because y'all got two or three more? It was three. It was actually three, and don't nobody even know that. And 2 out of the 3 were horrible. They just were just bad. Just throw it away. But if they get the new effects are going to make it great to see things like Sub-Zero throw somebody up against an ice wall, which is something that you've already seen reflected in the game and in the new game at that. Brilliant. You know what I'm saying to you? So that's absolutely brilliant. And then him like y'all, the TV trailer I just saw where he got like, he takes the rain and it like literally runs down ice on the ground and stuff. So it's going to be awesome. What I do think though is that they need to fix one effect. And if they do it, it needs to be the fire dragon. Because if you don't get Kung Lao's fire, they just need to fix it and smooth it, because it just looks like a weird snake. It's weird. Like it has to look like it should look like a dragon and look menacing. If they fix that, I think we'll get, like, we should see it almost the way that we see it on the game. It should look equally that same way in reality. I think what I saw on some of the trailers, I was like, yeah, y'all tried that. That ain't really good. That ain't really good. So before we wrap up, let's see. Is there any music coming out for you? Are you working on any music as well?
No, not anything on music. I appreciate you asking. Probably most likely not. I mean, lines come to me here and there, but like I'm so focused on producing content and voice acting now that I don't know if my mind is going to be there anymore.
Right.
Or there
again. I feel you. Yeah. Oh, P.S. And by the way, my favorite Instagram post had to be the Forrest Gump one. It took me right here. Okay. It sent me up here. The Forrest Gump one. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times already. I was like, I hate Travis so much right now. Like I literally was watching it like, I don't like Travis today. This is unnecessary, but I feel you. So I love that one. So you got a lot going on. Where can we find you? Because you are everywhere and out of the Hunger Games. I appreciate that. I appreciate that vocal fry you put on that. I'm everywhere. I am Travis Case. You know, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Is there any other? I think that's everything that I'm on. I mean, you can find me on my website at
www.traviscasevoiceacts.com as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I got some more stuff coming up, man. I got some more stuff coming up that I don't necessarily want to speak on now, but I think it's going to be pretty cool when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. So here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna click you down for a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and end out the show. Then me and you'll talk offline for a second, and I
Bet.
all up. So I definitely appreciate this. Is my Travis Case. Y'all hold on one second. There we go. All right, we're gonna do that right there like that. Okay. So what's up, y'all? We had another amazing interview. I have a new guest next week, so that will be Friday. New poster coming up soon. So I really appreciate everybody that tuned in. Don't forget that you'll be able to catch this on the YouTube channel as well, which is Kicking It with Young Smooth Podcast. Don't forget, another podcast is coming out as of Tuesday. And in addition, to kick that lyric, we're going to kick it up a notch. So I got some great surprises and maybe even a gift giveaway for the first person that gets that correct as well. We'll see. So once again, I'm your host, Young Smooth, and you kicked it with me, Young Smooth. Now, don't you feel better about it? All right, I know y'all do. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.